CBS News senior national security analyst Fran Townsend is a former Homeland Security advisor to President George W. Bush. Good morning.
Good morning, Charlie.
Despite questions about who knew what when, what is this really doing to U.S.-Russia relations?
Look, the temperature is pretty hot with the rhetoric, and I think the whole purpose of Tillerson's going there is to try and lower. It's harder to say nasty things to your face than it is, and when you're having a spokesperson do it. And so I think the purpose of Tillerson's visit is to try and lower the rhetoric and see if there's any place where the U.S. and Russia can work together on Syria. I will tell you, the Kremlin has doubled down, right? Putin's statements, they've doubled down on Assad at the moment, saying that the evidence is faked, that this is a rebel-held stockpile. It's nonsense, and we know it's nonsense. The U.S. tried to put the sort of lie to that propaganda effort by declassifying some of the intelligence, not all of it, Charlie. There's more there, but the U.S. is trying to carefully manage this in a way that allows them to protect sources and methods so that they continue to have some insight to the weapons program, the chemical weapons program in Syria.
But it's pretty extraordinary, as Margaret Brennan pointed out, that on the eve of this visit, the White House has the front page on all three of the major newspapers this morning, saying to reporters, here's the intelligence about Russia's complicity in what happened in Syria.
That's right. I mean, Norah, I think Russia's doubled down because, of course, they failed, right, to be the guarantor that they told the Obama administration they would be. And there's got to be real concern in the White House. This is not the only stockpile, and they said as much in the declassification yesterday. They assume that there are additional chemical weapons. They've sent the message. The missile strike was the sort of a first step, but it's not a strategy. And so what Rex Tillerson and the administration have to do now is build a strategy with coalition partners. To the extent we allow this to be a U.S.-Russia problem, we diminish our leverage, right? We will have to bring in our Arab partners who want to see Assad go to increase the pressure on Russia.
Does the U.S. intelligence believe that Russia knew that the Syrians were going to use sarin gas?
It's interesting, Charlie. They were very cagey yesterday when they released this intelligence about making that statement. It's sort of hard to imagine they didn't, though, right? Because the Russians were co-located at the very base that the Syrians used to launch this. We struck one base. There are 5 other major Syrian Air Force bases, and the question really becomes: if you can build a coalition and bring in your Arab allies, why can't you have them strike the other 5 bases, pull out the air defense system, crater the air traffic control system, and command and control, increase your leverage over Assad, and force the Russians to the table?
And despite all the Russian obfuscation, do you think in the long term Putin is wedded to keeping Assad in power?
I don't think he cares about Assad. Let's be honest. What he cares about is the strategic asset that is Tartus. That is the deep water port on the Mediterranean, his only one. And that's what Putin cares about. I think if you could get him a guarantee that he'd have access to that port, absent Assad.
And that might be the leverage.
Correct.
Fran Townsend, thanks as always.
Thank you.